My name is Stefan Haffner. I'm working for the German Aerospace Center and the Project Management Agency, where I'm working since 9 years. And I worked in several projects in FP7 and in Horizon 2020. Most of them have been CSAs, so coordinating support actions. There was the CastNet Plus project, and RINEA, which are dealing with the collaboration between Africa and Europe. Furthermore, I was active in the ERANET ERA Africa and the following ERA Africa initiative, which formed the network for the currently ongoing project LEAP Agri. LEAP stands for Long-Term European African Partnership in Agriculture. I'm also involved in the CSA LEAP for FNSSA, so Long-Term European African Partnership for Food and Nutrition Security and Sustainable Agriculture. And I would like to share some of my experiences. And I was thinking also with a friend from Côte d'Ivoire, what shall I do if I'm asked to share some practical experiences from projects and experiences and exercises with African partners. And I decided to share with you something unconventional, and I would like to have a discussion with you more than a presentation. How does this work here? So it was in 1929 where Hernan Magritte painted this painting, and there was a shouting through the art scene. In that time, it was a scandal to offer a painting like that. Because people think, well, it's a pipe. What a nonsense is it? It's written there in France, ceci n'est pas un pipe. This is not a pipe. And for some, it takes a bit longer to understand, well, yeah, that's true. It's just a painting of a pipe. And there was a longer discourse, as far as I understood, at that time about this painting. And I think it is worth to think a bit more about what brought Magritte to paint a painting like that. And I would not only like to advise you to visit the exhibition here in Brussels from Magritte, but also to think a bit with me with what are we dealing here. So this was the wrong button. This is the right button. Because this is not Africa. And I think we have a quite general problem in our perception with in which field we are working here. So this is a beautiful photo or collage of photos from the NASA. And what you see here is a picture from Africa. And what we have in mind is much, much more about Africa. So Africa, first of all, is a continent. It's not a country. And very often this is stated by some colleagues in their presentations. Perhaps you find it trivial now or boring, but I also had a colleague, and I felt so ashamed because I had a big group of colleagues, 30, 40 partners from Africa and the same from Germany. And this colleague, who was holding a PhD, started his presentation with "Africa is a poor country." So I don't want to bore you now with a speech or presentation like a teacher. Look, this is Africa. You are wrong in your perception. But I would like to again bring to you a bit more to attention that we might perhaps deal with wrong pictures of Africa, with too many stereotypes, and we have to look a bit more closer with whom we are dealing with here. And this is also a reason why I would like to have a discussion with you, because what would you like to know from me? Which experience that I might have are you keen to know? And please raise questions and interrupt me if you like. And let's have a bit of dialogue about that, what could be interesting for you with regard to African cultures, to African partners. And as it is written there, I mean, I'm not sure whether you are aware how many people are living in Africa, that there are 55 countries, nations in Africa, that more than 3,000 languages are spoken in Africa nowadays. It's a big and a diverse continent. So with whom would you like to collaborate, for example? With which country, with which partner? That is a question. The AfricaEU Partnership, and I also will not go that much into the details here, but I would like to bring to your attention that you might want to see the starting point of a serious collaboration in science, technology and innovation was in 2000 during the first Africa-EU summit. And as you see here, many other summits happened since then. Many institutions have been established towards this collaboration between our both continents. The projects I'm working in, and in particular the LEAP projects, the long-term European African Partnership projects in food systems and in renewable energies, are referring to, I think here's also a pointer. I take my finger. In this partnership, two roadmaps have been developed. One on food and nutrition security and sustainable agriculture. This has been adopted in Addis Ababa. And this has been adopted in the framework of the CastNet Plus project, where we organized a big stakeholder conference in Addis Ababa. Another roadmap, and by the way, HLPD means High-Level Policy Dialogue, which is an institution that in theory brings together all our more than 80 countries in the EU and in the AU. In 2017, the roadmap on CCSE has been adopted, which is on climate change and sustainable energy. And this is the context in which the LEAP projects are working in. There are 3 LEAP projects. 2 of them are dealing with food systems. So the first is the one LEAP Agri. I told you about that already. The second one is LEAP for FNSSA, which started last year in November, which is in CSA. And LEAP Agri is an ERANET co-fund. Perhaps just briefly also for your background, in LEAP Agri, which is the result of the ERA Africa initiative, which is the result of the ERANET ERA Africa, we brought together 24 funding parties with 18 million euros, and together with the contribution from the European Commission, this is a project which deals with 27 million euro towards the support of collaborative research in the field of food systems. We had an open call. We are funding currently 27 projects, and from a broader perspective, not only for the funders, I would say it is a success. And it's a challenge to have and to conduct a project like that. The other project, Pre-LEAPRE, is on renewable energies. It's in CSA. We are preparing a coming project which will be called LEAPRE. It's still not clear. Perhaps it's a bit more than a rumor, but the European Commission is intending now instead, and I told you that already here, Piotr, in this round, instead of an EJP, we are now asked to organize, to conceptualize an RIA, and I assume that this together with an Article 15, so that in this LEAPRE project, this coming LEAPRE project, we will be able to organize open calls for proposals, as well as conducting research with a specific group of researchers that would have been to be identified with the consortium partners, as well as different activities in the field of capacity building. In principle, and this is a part of the long-term vision, in the context of the high-level policy dialogue between both continents, we are bringing together funders networks, programs and other actors into a broader dynamic which should go beyond the classical project or program approach. So the hope is after, for example, the coming LEAP project or after the LEAP for FNSSA project, that a network of actors will be maintained, as we did already in the ERA Africa initiative, which resulted, for example, in the LEAP Agri project. So pooling resources, identifying research demands, harmonization of agendas, so agendas in research and innovation as well as in human and institutional capacity building are targets, and data management and communication. So this is roughly the background that I would like to give to you, to my work, our work in the network of actors DLRPT is working in. As a last note, we have to invest much more into partnerships, which means all the fundaments that are needed to communicate and to have real partners are needed. We have to invest in that. And it is not enough just to organize perhaps here and there a workshop or kind of that. We have to allow the maintenance of trust, of personal relations with institutions in the background. So therefore I suggest to continue with CSAs like Carsten and Rinea was, with funding networks, because the funders have a lot of power, and they need to be they need to have money for organizing meetings, and you as NCPs as well, to discuss and to agree and to move forward and to build trust. Thanks a lot for your attention.